Next up on Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine.
Probably one of the first to start, you know.
Annabelle's in Menor has been cruising for the last 29 years. Hey, is that a little Packard?
There's no such thing as a little Packard.
I stand corrected. That's a pretty nice 442. Drive it much?
Well, they made these things to drive, so we drive it.
Plus,
dirty, undercoated mess.
want a point-perfect show car? Mike gives you some tips. Looking forward to another episode of Cruise In?
Do something that's different, you know?
Okay, we will. Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine, starts with an eye in the sky. Welcome to Cruise In. I'm John Shapiro, editor of Cruisin' Times Magazine. We're in Annabelle's Diner in Menor, and we're about to take a look at some of the cars that have been cruising here since 1985, every Friday and Saturday night. You were here when they first had the first cruise in here at Annabelle. So
Yes.
Tell us about how you remember that.
Well, I remember before they opened, we came up here and buffed out the stainless steel before they opened on the building. And then I remember it was just packed for the opening. It was chaotic, although it gets that way on Saturdays around here now.
Linda, you were talking about now the actual building wasn't here yet. Remember, they moved it.
They moved it from Cleveland. I think it was March. I remember it being cold. We drove in 2 hot rod cars that we used to have in the parade from East Cleveland to Menor, where they had to park the building till they had the foundation built. And then we helped get the building ready, and we're here every weekend since.
Tell us about your Fiat now.
When we bought, I whined and whined and whined because I wanted a little hot rod car. We have a 36 Packard. I wanted a little Packard. There's no such thing as a little Packard. He said, find a little car and I'll build it for you. So we found the body. This was only a body when we bought it. He did all the painting, plumbing, sewing, wiring, everything. Built the frame, did all the interior, everything. So now I have a little hot rod car.
What made you get the Chrysler?
It's too hard to get in and out of the Model A. And a Chrysler's doors are about 6 inches wider and the body's about 6 inches wider. And originally I was going to drag race it. I extended the wheelbase on it to 119 inches. But then it turned out so nice, I decided not to drag race it. But essentially I got it because there's more room in it. It's easier to get in and out.
You had to promise Chuck that you'd say something nice about the Chuck Hamilton Band. So what would be anything good about the band?
They're the best diner band in Lake County.
How long have you been coming to Annabelle's?
I've been coming here since '84 when they moved the restaurant over here.
And tell us about there was an original car club that started the actual cruise-ins?
There was a club called the North Coast Cruisers that actually were very instrumental in helping them set it up and get it going for a car cruise.
Your 57 Chevy, it's got a wild flip-top front end and the hood even opens too. Tell us all about that.
Well, I had a friend with a '66 Chevelle that opened up and I liked it and I said I was going to do that to this car. But I didn't realize I had to move the hood hinges off the firewall and mount them in the fenders. It turned into quite a project.
Now, you got this in what condition?
It was pretty solid, but it was very neglected. It had sit 15 years with no chrome on it, no glass in it. It was pretty rough.
What's the color paint?
Actually, I took it off a chip trying to find something close to the original aqua color.
And then did you do most of the work, or?
I did everything but the interior. Originally, they all had some cloth in them in the Tri-5 Chevys, and the fellow that did this likes to do vinyl, and he set the interior panels up to look kind of like the Chevy. They call that a rifle stock where the Bel Air panel goes. So he followed that theme on the door panels inside.
Now, you're no stranger to hot rodding. Tell us about your funny car.
I have a little 59 Lloyd, which was a little German body. It's only got a 80-inch wheelbase. and I made a chassis for it, and I drag raced it in the nostalgia gas classes. It has a supercharged big block Chevy in it, and the body's all hydraulic. It's a little baby funny car.
Now, how long has it been done?
I think this is the third year I've had it on the road. This was a frame-off total restoration. There were three models, a 150, a 210, and a Bel Air. And the 150s and 210s were never really, they didn't have any placards or anything on them to say what they were. And when I did this, instead of putting the Bel Air panels in it, it was a 210. I called it a 210.
Coming up.
I'd say the first night before even the food was ready, we probably had 300 and some cars.
A success even before it opened. Next on Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine. Now, back to Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine. In 1985, you got an idea to do Annabelle's Diner. Tell us about it.
Well, we were doing a lot of cruising at Kmart and Burger King, and thought about a good place down here to this old diner and have music and the cars and sort of fit together.
And here you've been doing it. You're celebrating your 29th anniversary.
29th this year, yeah. Well, I was 40 then. This year I'll be 69, so that's 29 years here. I'd say the first night before even the food was ready, we probably had 300 and some cars. And you know, I keep thinking every year for 29 years, but it appears that every Saturday night we still get a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, you know. A lot of the same people. I've seen little kids become adults and have their own car. There's been a lot of people come and go, and but a lot of them are still here. There's people in the lot that came here 29 years ago that had a car, and they're here tonight, and that's always nice to see, because I really appreciate the people that come, you know. I've got to know them over the time, you know. A lot of nice people, and it's been fun.
And you drove all the way out here this for your first time in Annabelle's.
First time in Annabelle, sir.
What do you think?
Great.
You drive this car, I mean, everywhere and then some.
Everywhere and then some. We just, March we went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for Run to the Sun. And 2 weeks we're leaving for Hot Rod Power Tour.
Which is your 10th.
11th.
11th. So tell us, what kind of condition was this when you first got it?
When I got it, it was a real beater. It was, some kid owned it, and the rockers were all rusted and out, and dents in it everywhere from running into fences. And it's had a lot of abuse.
So did you do all the work?
No, my son does it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he don't allow me to touch it. He says he wants it done right. He don't want it messed up.
Well, what kind of paint? Tell us about what your son did to it then.
Well, 2 years ago, he put a complete new frame under it, new floorboards, new wiring harness. This year, he repainted it. And next year, we're going to redo the seat covers. Every year, it's something different.
And so, how many miles have you accrued since you've had it?
This car's got about 500,000 on it.
500,000?
500,000, yeah.
That you put on?
Yeah.
When did you get it?
1984.
You're kind of here on the anniversary. It's kind of a double thing.
Double anniversary. Yeah, we do an average about 15,000 miles in the summer.
Man.
Well, they made these things to drive, so we drive it. You know, the only time it's ever on trailers was broke.
Let's visit Cruise In Marketplace. Tough Stuff Performance Accessories. All Tough Stuff products are quality made in Cleveland, Ohio using 100% new components. Tough Stuff has a complete line of underhood accessories for the custom and hot rod market. All Tough Stuff products meet or exceed OEM specifications. For more information, visit toughstuffperformance.com or call 1-800-331-6562. Ultimate Headers. Big tubes for tight places. The last set of headers you'll ever have to buy using 321 stainless. UltimateHeaders.com. Call 440-234-9600. If you'd like to be a part of Cruisin' Marketplace, give us a call. Call 330-697-4155 or email Mark now. info@cruisin.tv. Coming up.
Detailed everything back to factory specs, trying to go perfect for points.
Mike will show you how next on Cruisin', presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine. Welcome back to Cruisin', presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine.
Hi, I'm Mike, and this is my garage. Today, what I'd like to talk to you guys about is building a points show car. Everybody says they want to build a show car. Want to take it to that level and have that prestigious, best of the best, high-end show car. Well, it's easily achieved, and some people say, well, you know, I would like to have a show car, but I don't want to have the upkeep and the care of it. What's easier to clean? A really nice, painted, clean, beautiful surface, or a dirty, undercoated mess? The more time you spend making it perfect and right, it's really easier to upkeep, and it just looks that much better. So, good friend, good customer, Andy Starr brought me this '69 Buick Wildcat. We took the car and did a full best of the best restoration that you could imagine. We pulled the engine, we detailed everything back to factory specs, trying to go perfect for points. Many things we tried to make shinier or better than it was, but trying to use the correct shades of black, not going overboard with glossy parts, but making everything look as nice as it could. So the engine compartment, it's all been done as perfect with correct tower clamps, correct hoses, you name it, everything's been done. Now, again, the conventional battery has been, you know, the factory battery's been changed. We've put a topper on a modern style battery just because they last longer. They're a great battery to have, and they're a little cheaper, and the toppers make it look factory again. Markings, that's another thing. If you want to go and try and make that extra impression on the judges, you go online, you try and find what other people have done. You try and find original photos from the factory. Sometimes all that information isn't out there, so you take your best educated guess on a range of cars. Look in the GM family, because I'll tell you, sometimes if you go to a show and you've got a car that is two cars that are absolutely identical clean, and the judges are both scratching their heads saying, I don't know how to judge these cars, what are we going to do? Well, if you've got the tags and those little inspection markings and the other guy doesn't, chances are that's enough to eke you that first place. If you're building a points car, cleanliness is everything. And again, when you go this far, and this perfect and this clean, it's easy to keep clean. I don't care how good you keep care of it. First off, right off the bat, have a blowgun with an air compressor. I don't even care if you want one of those little computer screen compressed air, if you don't have a compressor nearby. Before you start wiping on it, take that blowgun. A lot of times that dust, it's abrasive. You can use the softest, most plush towels in the world. That dust is abrasive. Blow it off first, right off the bat, that gives you less that's going to trap in that rag, wipe around, and mess everything up. So a nice little blowgun, air hose, and then start your wiping. Use good quality products, and let's face it, anybody can do this after it's done right, can keep a car like this. Don't think, you know, especially if you're going for a point show, that the judges won't crawl around and look underneath. All these little details make a difference. I've shown against cars before that were just as clean and just as perfect and beautiful, But maybe they didn't take that extra mile and get parts plated that were supposed to be plated. The whole underside of this car literally looked like somebody tried to keep it clean and preserved, but with black spray paint. If they painted a part where another part was bolted to it, once you unbolt it, you're going to see between the layers, hey, that was a plated part. Send it out and have it plated. The extra money to have it plated makes that much more of a difference to a judge when they're looking for details. Inspection marks, part number stickers, all that stuff, it's a little added extra. Don't forget the little rubber plug for your brake, adjusters if you've got them. If not, there are restoration companies that you can get them from, even local parts stores. Again, the GM dip lines, extra points, man, it's the way to go. If you're gonna do it right. Plated parts, again, new rubbers, you can get these end links at your local parts store. Sometimes though, it may have blue rubbers. For points, they wouldn't have come from the factory blue. Unless they did, do your research, put the black rubbers in there. Different colored points, any tag, any part tag, it's just added details. Some people go as nuts as trying to find correct oil filters. I've taken regular oil filters from the parts store, wiped the lettering off of them with some degreaser, some cleaner, whatever you can do to make it look less obvious that it's a not name brand, or it wasn't an AC Delco, or it wasn't for a Dodge, whatever you got to do. Little things like that, sometimes a judge will look at that and say, hey, extra mile, extra points. Plated bolts, painted bolts, phosphated bolts, the way that they should be. And then sometimes if you don't know, I'm always going to tell you, if you can't find the exact answer to your question, overdo it. A perfect, nice new bolt looks way better than a painted bolt the same color as whatever it's mated to. When you see a phosphated part and then a natural bolt next to each other, big difference. You never want to have a phosphated bolt and a phosphated part. If you don't know, make a contrast. Contrast looks appealing to the eye. Sometimes correctness isn't as right as appealing to the eye. So again, correct plating, inspection markings. The sky's the limit. You can go any way you want to go, but you want the points, take the extra step. This is what you got to do. Hopefully I helped. I'm out. We'll see you next week on Mike's Garage.
Next on Cruise In.
Just a good surprise. I mean, it's really a nice, he did a nice job on what he did, you know what I mean?
We liked it too. Next on Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine. Now, back to Annabelle's Diner in Menard on Cruise In, presented by Cruisin' Times Magazine. You were here, we're talking about memories of Annabelle's Diner.
Oh, geez, I've been cruising this place for years. I don't know, I've been here for the opening. I've been here for all the great shows, all the music, all the everything that Chuck just puts on. Chuck puts on a good show, and Annabelle's always did a good job. And
now, you were a member of one of the original car club. Tell us the name of the club and how you guys...
yeah, I was a member of the North Coast Cruisers, and we used to cruise this place with all the guys and everything, and we all had our own little parking spots over here, and we had all of our jackets and everything, and everybody was it was just a cool thing to do, you know. It was just every weekend, you know. Now, we're here. 40 Ford Pro Street. Tell us about that. You built it yourself, or? Well, we bought I bought the chassis. It was an old race car, and I just been building it ever since then. I just put it's got a big block Chevy in it. It's automatic. It's Pro Streeted. It's got the big tires under it.
Did you do the French headlights?
Yeah, French headlights. It has
well, what color paint?
It's Porsche red. Well, what it was like the pinstripe job that's on here. I just took it to the guy and told him, hey, that's what I usually do with them. Just do something that's different, you know. And it's like we usually, I just take what they give me, you know. And I'm not really. I was really surprised by the way he did it. There was a lot of stuff that we've actually taken off of it, you know. But that was even kind of nicer. I should have left a lot of that stuff on it. No, it was just, no, it was just a good surprise. I mean, it's really a nice. He did a nice job on what he did. You know what I mean?
It's really red.
Red, really red, yes.
And how about, did you do any of the stitching of the interior?
Most of the stuff is in, I had the interior done by a man in Michigan, and what it was is he did a really nice job on that, but we did most of it myself, all the tin work and all the stuff for all the, you know, the dashboard and all that stuff and all the
And then what's the farthest you've driven?
Farthest in this car we've been is, I think we've been, well, we've been to the Nationals in, we go to Columbus, we go to Kalamazoo, Michigan, we've gone to...
And what's on the agenda for, I mean, you gonna keep this car, you gonna do anything else? Or you gonna...
I got this one here, and I got a 41 Chevy I'm working on now, so it's like we're doing a paint job on that, so that'll be out here pretty soon.
And how many people have asked you about the Just Listen?
I know, I have a lot of people ask me what that is, you know. It used to have a blower on it, and then that motor went bad, so it was like, you know, I just haven't built another one yet for like that, you know, and I just kind of stay with motors I can just drive and cruise with and make a little bit of noise with and peel the tires and have fun, you know.
Well, that closes the hood on another edition of Cruisin'. I'm John Shapiro. We want to thank Annabelle's Diner, and we want to congratulate them on 29 years of cruising every Friday and Saturday night. We'll see you next week.